Hey everybody, Robot here from Vespa Motorsport, scooterwest.com. Today I'm going to show you a combo of installing two accessories on this beautiful new 2025 GTS 310 Super Tech. So all these steps pretty much apply to any of the GTS range. This windscreen is specific for the 2023 to current 2025 models. I don't know what comes in the future, but probably fit some future models as well. It's the original Vespa Flyscreen GTS 30 PA-HPE2 on the Scooter West web store. We also have it in smoked. Pretty popular Flyscreen, pretty simple to install. I'll show you later in the video if you want to skip past installation of the grips. So the grips are these Vans Cult grips. Been very, very popular. They're made in the United States of America. I think they're made up in Orange County. Kind of patterned after the soles of a Vans shoe. So I have them installed. I've done an install video in the past, but I kind of have a new technique where I leave the original chrome rings that are on the factory grips. Kind of gives for a pretty clean install because these grips are referred to as flangeless grips. So you kind of see the mechanism or inside there when you install these grips. So show how to do that, real simple to do. Go on to some of the tools you'll need. So first of all, to do the grips, you're gonna need some type of grip glue. 3-bond, the grip lock is really good. We do sell little single-use sizes of this. You're gonna need a nice brand new single edge razor. You'll see why shortly. And install a grip, need compressed air. So a compressor and some type of blowgun. And to remove the bar ends, you'll need a 4mm Allen to remove those bar ends. So the windscreen, 3 tools are needed, and that's it. You need a 17mm combo wrench, a 10mm combo, and a 3mm Allen key. Pretty straightforward. I would say both these accessories probably a level 1 to install. Maybe the grips is a level 2 because it takes some ingenuity and trimming, some skills to get these trimmed really nice where they work. But let's get started. Enough of me talking. All right, so our good friend Tim, he ordered another GTS 310. Pretty excited to get it and gave me a good accessory list. So sold to Tim. Sorry, the first batch of 310s, those are all gone, but we have more coming. What is today? It is the 1st of May. So maybe by next week, we'll have another batch of them. So I've featured the Vans Cult grips. They're more of like a BMX style grip. They don't have the ends cut out, but I found a new way to put these on. So, you know, you got the hollow end and the closed end, but we want to use this cool looking bar end. And what we're going to do is I'm going to trim this ring off, and then I'm going to put the grip on, and it's going to work good, and I'll be able to leave this cool chrome collar. Something I really wasn't doing until I mentioned it to Tim on his first 310. So first of all, we kind of don't want to take the whole grip off. We're kind of going to dissect the original grip. Got to get the bar end off. Usually it's a 4mm Allen. In some cases, it's a T30 Torex, but these little shorties, I really like how those look on the, you know, starting in 2023. This is a 25 Super Tech GTS 310. The much nicer screen. They did a good update there. So we're gonna go ahead and slice the grip. It's on like a nylon tube if you know how a grip works. So sorry, Vespa grip. It's coming right off. And right at the flange, I want to cut the grip off. I want to leave, there's rubber in the grip right behind that flange right there. So good thing is it kind of rotates now, and kind of roll that razor blade around. Nice thing when you have a nice fresh razor, it just cuts through the grip rubber, especially a nice soft brand new grip. They're hard, it's definitely not so easy. So there's a little bit of rubber still in there, and I kind of want to leave that in place for that chrome ring. So it kind of centers the chrome ring. You know, the chrome ring kind of wants to move around, but there's some of the rubber in there. You can see it looks like a flange right there. So we'll leave that alone. So two different grips with any of these modern Vespas. It's different with old Vespas. You actually have 7/8 on both sides. But the one that's a little larger diameter is the throttle side. You can see this is a throttle tube right here. And my experience is a lot of times you don't need to glue them on there. You know, if it does twist, you may need to put glue. With the left side, you're definitely going to use some glue. And we're going to figure out where to trim this. Pretty certain I can cut right at that flange. So I'm going to go at the table. I'll kind of show you just starting right here. I'm getting there with a nice fresh razor blade and just do a nice clean cut all the way around. I'm going to go at the table. Pretty much do that. So I'll be right back and it'll be perfectly cut. All right, so I got the grip ready. You can see the cuts. I think I did a pretty good job. And that was just with the regular straight edge razor. Compressed air is going to be your friend with these grips. If you're going to do it without compressed air, ooh, yikes, it's going to be pretty difficult. So even like a little pancake compressor, you know, hooked to a hose with this has got a blowgun with a rubber tip, that even helps even more. Because the handlebar is actually solid. And the idea is you put pressure through here and it blows the grip up like a balloon. So I'm not going to put any lubricants or anything. Usually you could just get them right on. Usually I want nothing on there because I want the grip to stay with the throttle. And we'll just see how that all goes. So. And we'll get it as far as we can. And that's about as far as I can get with that rubber tip. And then I'll go with kind of that more pointy tip. And at this point, sometimes you work from this side. Making some really wonderful noises here. So just about like that. And there's a little bit of a gap right there because of the bar end. You don't want to have the grip kind of rubbing on the bar end. And sometimes we'll be able to stretch the grip just a little bit. So there we go. So it's got a Vans grip with the chrome ring right there. So kind of a different look. And then we can just move on to installing the bar and weight. I mean, you could pull it out just a little bit, you know, pull the grip just, you know, to kind of center it, as long as it's not dragging. One thing to keep in mind, the grips do expand a little bit on a hot day. So they may be really close tolerance, but on a hot day, it may, there we go. So yeah, on this right side, I would say I have maybe, I don't know, like a 3mm gap, 1/8 inch, and I still have the chrome ring. You could even close up the gap. You could probably roll like an O-ring in there. Kind of give it a little bit more if you wanted to. All right, so you got a little bit of free play in the chrome collar. You can always find like an O-ring from an O-ring assortment. You find something like this at Harbor Freight, Amazon. And just, I'm gonna stretch the O-ring over and see if I can fill the gap with that O-ring. Yeah, it looks much better. Kind of fills in the gap. It's going in there. And kind of just keeps a little extra pressure on this chrome ring, so it's not flopping around. There you go. So the Vans grip with the original chrome ring. We're going to move on to the other side. Pretty similar steps, except for the other side, we're going to glue the grip on because the left side grip, of course, stays fixed. It's not a throttle. So, all right, same steps. One thing is this grip's a little thicker on this side, so it's got to cut through a little bit more. And it's got that kind of don't know, I like to call it pig snot kind of look to the adhesive. And we'll roll the razor blade without cutting myself all the way around. And bye-bye original grip. Pretty much same effect. We'll go ahead and cut this a little bit shorter, and then we'll go ahead and slide this on. All right, so I got a clean rag, I don't know, whatever handy solvent you have. Of course, in the shop, you got something like carburetor cleaner. Like, kind of ironic, how many of these scooters even have carburetors these days, but it's still a good solvent. Probably not so good for your hands, but go ahead and clean that pig snot off the throttle tube. It sticks to your fingers. I have a cut on my hand. I could feel that carburetor spray burning. Nothing like working in a shop. So with this side grip, I went ahead and cut it all the way around. Use just a standard grip glue, and we have the personal size. Well, maybe not personal size, but enough to do like 2, maybe 3 grips. This is a little bit smaller tube. This is like kind of the shop industrial size. And just give it a little smear. You don't want to get too wild with it, because when you're pushing the grip on it, kind of want to push it out, and you'll end up with pig snot in places you don't really want it. So you could also, put it in. This is perfect. I found this sold tag here, and take some of it, kind of smear it around. It does dry pretty quick, and just put a little bit in the tube, and oftentimes you could just push this side on pretty far, but I got the handy air right here, compressed air, so pop the tip off. This side we're not going to need an O-ring, because got glue kind of doing the trick for us. There we go. So it's holding the ring in place. I would say almost the throttle side's a little more tricky. And none of the glue gooped out, which is perfect. Put the bar on, and you got some trick looking Vans US made grips. Pretty cool to add a little US touch to this Italian flair right here. They're definitely softer grips than those original kind of vinyl grips. This is like a nice soft rubber, but you're keeping the OEM ring. So that's how you do that. Pretty straightforward. Next, we're gonna move on to the Flyscreen. All right, onto the windshield. You take the 2 goal posts, as I like to call them. They have 2 threaded sections. You wanna take some anti-seize. You don't need that much. Probably got a little bit more than I need, and just a little wipe on both the threads, because if you're gonna ride an increment, whether these parts that you're gonna thread on are gonna seize up. So there's a more hollow end, thread on, pretty much like any of the Vespa windshields. They've been the same for a while. They did make a pretty nice improvement in the last couple of years, where they kind of have a locking, just like a little wire in there, a spring wire that keeps some tension on the pair of rods, and that really helps out. Definitely the Vespa fly screens and windscreens are built to a little higher caliber of quality compared to the decent quality windshields we sell from like both Vaco and Capini. Those are very popular options. You can get some really nice windscreens for, in the $130, $150, $160 range, while the Vespa stuff's always $200, if not in the $300 range. Let's go ahead and drop the little cones on both sides. Definitely got to thread that one a little bit further. And then you got the plastic expansion plug. And one thing, keep in mind that we do have that available as a spare part if you damage it, but over torquing it or incorrectly installing the plug. Usually they hold up pretty good, so not really an issue. Got those, and then you have this last little a kind of D-shaped plug, and there's a flat that's ground onto the rod. So just keep on going with this. Just do the one. So that's probably more than we need. So drop that on. Take a flat washer, kind of balance that on there. Take your 6mm screw, take your 10mm wrench or socket, whatever you have. And they have Loctite already on the thread, so it's nice. You don't need to tighten it all that tight, but make sure it's bottomed out. See, right there it's bottomed out, right when it gets much more difficult to turn. Then I turn that in. You don't want to start tightening it where it expands the plug. So do the same with the other one. All right, with a fresh windshield install, usually I just like putting the goalpost right in there, and you can feel they kind of click in, and it's just carefully lean them up against the bodywork there. And we'll do the same on this side. You got a second hardware pack right here. So typically I'll drop 2 of the little spacers on there. Just kind of carefully drop them in place. You could assemble the whole windscreen. I've done that in the past with some of the videos. The next step is you want to get these rubber grommets. There's several of them right here. And now we have the blade right here, all wrapped up. This is the Piaggio original Flyscreen. This one's clear. Kind of the scooter's got like nice bright accents, like the chrome accents. I think clear looks pretty good. If you got a sporty scooter or maybe a red scooter, I think the black or the smoked, it's not necessarily black, but the smoked version's a little better looking. Keep in mind you don't really look through these style windscreens. They're just there to kind of kick the wind up and over your face and out of your teeth when you're riding. So grommets all get pushed in. Try not to get my greasy prints on this brand new windscreen, but easy enough to clean. Use a plexiglass cleaner and a brand new fresh microfiber rag. You never even want to use a used one because plexiglass is pretty simple to, or not simple, it's pretty easy to scratch. They got that ugly decal. It's got a warning in Italian first. Make sure the windscreen is properly fitted to the vehicle. Drive carefully when the vehicle is equipped with such windscreen, especially on windy days. Pay particular attention to the vehicle's slipstreaming while driving behind it. Reduce the maximum speed. So that's what that decal has to offer. Some really exciting information. I can certainly attest this size windscreen you're probably not going to ever notice, but if you got one of the large full-size windscreens, yeah, that might be some fairly decent advice. So I got the nuggets for the top up here, or I don't know what they're really called, but just called it the nugget. And then you take the little escutcheons or rings are actually made out of plastic, so take care. They're pretty easy to crack. They are available as a spare part if you do damage them. Thread the screw a couple turns in. We'll do the same on the next top one here. So take the windscreen, just kind of, now that you got the 2 started, you drop them in place, and the lower 2 are pretty easy to position. Pretty much same steps. Doing a little maneuver right here to get all the hardware and the 3mm Allen key. This nice little. And one thing to keep in mind when you're working on a scooter, take extra care not to drop tools. The last thing you need to do is drop a tool on the front leg shield or the fender. If you have any doubt, you can certainly cover all that stuff up. They do make like a saran wrap, or you could just put a towel over those items. So I'm gonna get the windshield, this top one, tightened up and kind of towards the top of this rod up there. So get that one all started. All right, so everything's kind of at this point just a little on the loose side. So there's some adjustability. Take the 17 millimeter wrench next and kind of give it a look. I'm looking for the gaps right here. I'm not concerned that the gap up there is too high, but I want to keep for an even gap on both sides, the left and right side. We're using the 17 millimeter combo to tighten both the left and the right goalposts. The cool thing is you could kind of tighten them and there's still some adjustability. See how I can still move it? We'll do the same on all right, so that's pretty good right there, and we'll move back to the 3 millimeter Allen. I kind of want to get the gap all the way around, so go ahead and drop the windscreen just a little bit. And usually, ideally, I want the same amount of space with both of those rods, both the left and right side. Kind of looking at it from the side, so start with the top. Say that's pretty good. And I'm just giving these a little tightening, you know, just like a little twist of the wrist, because if you just really crank on those, they'll crack the plastic escutcheons there. So we're pretty good there, and we'll get this. You can get a little more wild on how tight you do these, but they don't need to be really tight because it doesn't take much to expand that plastic plug that's in that tube on the handlebars. Pretty unique system for windscreens, kind of only found on the Vespas. Works really good. So there you go. Windscreen's installed. And typically you can remove this label very carefully. Just when they're fresh, just kind of dig your nail in there. You'll leave behind a little bit of adhesive. And you got to be really careful about cleaning that adhesive off. All right, say take some sort of plexiglass cleaner. This is a kind of a foaming stuff. I used to like the Plexus, but it's really hard to find now. And you can just kind of buff the finish out, and where you see that adhesive, you may need a little bit more cleaner just to kind of attack at it, at that adhesive. And now everything looks pretty perfect. You can see it's brand new microfiber rag. This also works on your headlight. The chrome kind of cleans everything up. Makes it look all perfect and beautiful. So there you go. Hey everybody, Robot here. Thanks for watching. A nice March day here in sunny California. I thought I moved to California so I didn't have to deal with this stuff. Knee high in snow. See you on the next one.